Hello everyone and welcome to a new footprint setup video. On this video we will talk about EUR USD, this fake out, and how you can trade it on your own. Let's go. As always, we're gonna start right off with our technical analysis. So before we trade EUR USD, we should know that it's currently pretty choppy simply because of the fundamentals. Fundamentals are a topic for another video where I can explain you some of the details, but simply put, the European Central Bank is pretty hawkish, as well as the Fed. The market has been very chaotic and volatile when you look at bonds, when you look at the stocks, when you look at US dollar and different currencies against US dollar, when you look at the JPY. But like I said, that's a topic for another video. If you would like to see more about fundamentals, let me know. Let's have a look at nice levels to trade. So first of all, I'm gonna start with the parallel channel, because what we can see is we had a nice channel here. Of course, there's a lot of subjectivity. You can use that trend line, you can use that trend line. I usually look for a lot of relevance and want to see where the market actually reacted. So we see that we have a channel right here, and what we see in that channel is we had a fake out there. Yeah, that was the first test of this area. A lot of rejection here as well, fake out, then a fake out at the bottom side. There's a nice fake out as well, and more news, you know, another fake out, a fake out again, a retest of this area, and then finally the breakout and the retest. So this could actually be a very nice zone to trade. Now when we look at the horizontal resistance areas, we can see right there is a nice resistance area. As you can see, relevance here, here, and here as well. So we know this might be a very nice level to trade, and we're gonna wait for the market to test this level when we have a retracement and see what happens. You might remember this from the last video. I'm using the cumulative delta, and what we can see is that the higher price went, the more of a divergence we had. Look at this. The price is constantly moving up, but we have more and more sellers in the market. It means this is a zone of distribution, which is making it more likely that the entire move to the upside is soon going to end. We're gonna see that in the footprint chart as well. And yeah, we hop right in. Let's go. So before we have a straight look into the fake out, I want you to notice again the divergence. Look at the cluster statistics and you will see that during this entire up move, we had basically more sellers than buyers in the market. So how is that possible? By front pushing, means buy limit orders were chasing price, absorbing sell orders, and the market continued to move up. Why? To make sure the price is not going to fall until the distribution is actually done. So we know there is some absorption happening, yeah? So front pushing and buy limits are currently supporting the buyers. So you can see here in the first move we have a negative delta of 24, a little bit of high volume, a retracement, another test, and then the first test of the resistance. And note this, as soon as we get up to the resistance, we have a lot of sellers in the market. Yeah, a negative delta of minus 190 and a higher volume. So we know there's relevance at this level, and we want to see what happens as soon as we get back to the level once again. So the next move we see right there, a strong sign of absorption again. We have imbalances to the downside by sellers, but the price is not moving down, so we should be careful here right now and see, okay, what happens as soon as we get another test. Right there we see buyers. Yeah, the market goes up, we see buyers here right at the resistance, probably breakout traders or buy stops, but the market didn't move up. So this is a strong evidence for a reversal. Once again, we want to make sure that we get aggressive sellers, like I explained in the last video with the buyers, to have a move down, right? Or very aggressive front pushing. Now look at the next candle. Pretty chaotic at the resistance, because in this case we see sellers down here. We have very thin volume, so there's not a lot of action right now, and the price is not moving down. So there's again a little bit of absorption. We don't want this absorption to happen anymore. Instead, we just want aggressive selling, or like I said, front pushing. Now we get the typical final move when we have such a choppy market. So now we get very high volume, 1426, very high compared to the other candles, with a very positive delta. Now note this, right at the top we have a lot of buyers right here. What could that be? This could be stop losses by short positions, or stop losses of short positions. And we don't know this, of course. Obviously, we don't know this, whether these are stop losses or market buy orders or buy stops or whatever. What we know is there are buyers. And now see what happens in the next candle. At the same price area, all the buyers are gone. There are no buyers anymore. Instead, we have an exhaustion. The price moves down and we get imbalances to the downside. So aggressive selling is coming into the market. Here we got some buyers. Price or market doesn't care. The price continues to move down. Here we get buyers. Price moves down. We get more aggressive selling. We have a very thin volume at this candle, so we got to be careful because retracements can have lower volume and then you suddenly get a lot of volume and all the buyers are coming back. So this is not the time to move in because this could be still a retracement. We have the evidence of a fake out, but we want to make sure the price goes below the resistance. Now see, price is going below resistance. Then we got sellers, and again an attempt by breakout traders to push price up to buy the actual breakout close to the upper deviation of the VWAP, and the price moves up. Now see what happens. Price moves up and we get sellers again, and here we got buyers, and buyers have no impact on price, so we see absorption suddenly by sellers. This is also called flipping. Yeah, we had absorption by buyers, now we have absorption by sellers, flipping of limit orders, and all the buyers here have no impact on price anymore. If you see something like this, you always want to make sure that speed is involved or a higher velocity and auction activity. That's what you can find in the cluster statistics when you look at the volume per second. In this case, at this candle as well as this candle of the breakout, we can see higher volume per second and so more speed in the market. But when you observe the market in this moment, you can see how fast the candle moves. And of course, when you trade with the order book like me and Smart Tape, you would see that suddenly a lot of orders are coming in and something is about to happen. You always want to trade with speed, because when you have speed, then something is about to happen. In this case, we had a green candle first. The market moved up pretty fast. Then we got buyers here in this area. Price moved up. Then we got sellers up there in exhaustion, and then absorption. All the buy pressure got absorbed by settlement orders. And this is when you want to get into the market. So let me summarize this for you again. We had a move up and we have a delta divergence because we see price moving up, but we got more sellers than buyers in the market, showing a lot of sellers are interested in shorting the market right at the resistance area that we marked up. Then we had choppiness in the market. Choppiness means the market is fighting, and we don't want to be in a fighting market. We want to trade clean moves. So what we need is a final either breakout with a retracement, or we need a fake out. In this case, we had the nice fake out. Clean move to the upside, a lot of imbalances and liquidity fishing. And when the big players have this liquidity, they push the price into their direction, again with aggressive selling. So we have the fake out, imbalances here by buyers. Buyers up here, probably stop losses, no impact anymore. Then we have an exhaustion. Price slowly moves down below the resistance, and then another candle with a lot of speed. Sellers up there, buyers no impact, and price moves down. So you might ask yourself, how can we trade this? There's again an aggressive and a passive way to trade this. First of all, look at the horizontal delta. What you can clearly see is there was a lot of volume at this level. Look at this. There's a high volume peak and there's the value area high. So we have a high volume in this area, and when you look at the delta, you can see we got way more sellers than buyers. And when we identified the fake out and we know there are lots of sellers and that was a liquidity fishing move, then we can assume the price or that the sellers are going to hold this area, especially after this fake out to the upside. So after the move below the resistance, we can place a sell limit right at this resistance here with a stop loss above the higher volume of these candles. And we can see there is a POC, there is a POC, there is a POC. This is basically where the higher volume is. And when the price moves up again, you can see that we got sellers here and above exhaustion. So a pretty nice setup if you want to do it aggressively with a very early entry. The second way, the passive way, was my way to trade it because I was a little hesitative when I saw this candle. You can see there's clearly a delta divergence. We had sellers down here and buy limits were probably trying to participate on the breakout. We had the delta divergence, so I wanted to wait for an extra confirmation. The volume was pretty thin, and when you have a retracement with thin volume, you should always be careful because the next moment we could get high volume and suddenly all the buyers are stepping in to, as I said, participate on the breakout. So I wanted to wait for an extra confirmation in this case, and with this candle we had a very nice confirmation. But we see here aggressive selling coming in, and then we got imbalances, so market sell order short. My stop loss in this case just above this exhaustion, and here in this area where the absorption orders, the sell limit orders and the aggressive sellers were holding the price down. So guys, that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to see more videos such as this odd USD short trade from the same day or this beautiful GBP USD setup, make sure to hit the like button. Leave a comment if you got any questions. As always, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.